Oh, before I do that, let me just talk as well about a little bit about the energetic benefits of twists and what we're doing. So, you guys, we talked a little bit, I talked to you guys a little bit about the sacral chakra, the Svadhisthana chakra. Did anybody experience when you guys were doing the twist today, did anybody experience frustration, anger? You don't have to say it out loud, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Jean-Marie, screw you. That's all completely normal. When we're talking about twists, we're dealing with the Manipura chakra. So it's this area here. The word Manipura means lustrous gem, but it's our ego identity. So it's where we come into the labels that we carry for ourselves. You know, I am a woman, I am this, I'm good at this, I'm not good at that. But it's also where we experience frustration. It's where we experience the qualities of like strength and courage and fortitude and what you guys will come to understand as tapas. Tapas is the ability to withstand the intensity of something for the power of transformation. And quite often, what happens in this area is it produces levels of frustration, it produces levels of anger. You know, this is one of the areas that is where we really experience anger. People get really angry, what happens? They start to feel a burning in their belly, right? They develop ulcers. All of that kind of stuff is based on the fact that we're talking about the Manipura chakra. So when we're doing things that are strength-based, if I had you guys holding Vira 3 for 10 minutes, you would undoubtedly be angry afterwards, right? And there's a mental component to that, but there's also an energetic component to that, and that's the Manipura chakra. It's where we start to as well, if we work through that, if we do the work and stay with it, tapas, withstanding the intensity for the power of transformation, that frustration starts to turn into strength. Not just of body, but strength of character, self-confidence. The confidence that we can do something. Confidence means with faith. Having the faith that we can do something, that we become stronger in our bodies. So that's kind of just a little bit about the energetic effect as well. So if you're frustrated, it's as it should be.
Could you just say one thing about injuries or things you should avoid or be careful of when going into twists or instructions?
Yeah, we're going to do it. We'll look at it more specifically when we're dealing with each of the individual twists, but generally, if people have lower back issues, one of the things that I had mentioned that we would talk about, and I'll talk about it now, in all of the twists, but especially in YWTT10-05-13, there's two theories of thought, two schools of thought. If there are lower back issues, one of the theories of thought is that instead of keeping the pelvis neutral and twisting at the waist, which can cause compression in the lower back, you allow this hip to come forward and you twist the entire spine. So it's not as much of this kind of a twist, but it keeps the neutrality of the pelvis by turning in the pelvis. The other theory is that that's not an actual twist, and so you would take a modification, you would come higher up onto a block. If somebody's got lower back issues, depending on what the lower back issue is, you might not want to have them do a twist. You might want to have them have their hand to the big toe side of the foot, have it higher up on a block, make it an easier twist, hand to the floor, just an easy twist that way. That's the biggest issue. YWTT10-05-13, you want to have the heel off of the floor, especially if somebody's got knee issues or lower back issues. You wouldn't want to teach the heel down in the way that I taught you guys today. There's really not...
That felt really funky.
Felt really...
Funky.
Yeah. With the back heel on the
We
floor.
were like...
Yeah, no, I never, like I told you guys. No, that was a lot of tapas, huh? A lot of tapas. There's not... If I teach with the back heel on the floor, my entire class will pretty much be dedicated towards doing that towards the end, with their foot on a block. Because so many people experience so much pressure and rigidity, you know, and if they keep the back heel off of the floor, they don't experience it. So the lower back If the back heel is on the floor, there's potentially knee issues with the back. There really aren't as many like neck issues or anything. If somebody's experiencing neck issues, you just don't have them turn their gaze up towards the ceiling. Shoulder issues, again, you would just modify and not make it as deep of a twist. But it's really, I would say the number one thing is lower back. Yeah, lower back issues. Yeah.
Also on twist, when we turn our gaze up, I can, it's a proprioceptive thing, but I don't know where my neck is.
Yeah.
Without touching my hands, like literally like
Right.
moving it and like adjusting my neck
Yeah.
to be in line with the rest of the spine. So how can we?
Well, as a teacher, when you would teach, if you would see that people are doing this, then you kind of, I mean, an easy trick is say that you see everybody's doing that. You turn in the same direction as they are, and you go, okay, what part of the neck is this? Okay, it's the right side of the neck, and then you give the instruction, lengthen the right side of your neck, so that you actually see what they're doing and do that. On yourself, you just have to know, if you're constantly doing that, then I think at this point you know, right? And so you can just tell yourself, lengthen the bottom side of your neck.
It's a good trick to start looking down to the floor and really lengthening from the spine to the crown of the head, and very slowly move the gaze to the side and then up, but without.
Yeah.
So first the elongation of the spine is easier.
You know,
before you're gonna go to harder.
You know what you can also do as well? Sometimes before to get the length in the spine, you can kind of release your chin down a little bit because it lets you lengthen the back of the neck a little bit more, and then keep that as you turn. So there are ways you can play with it. Yeah. Who else? Anybody else? Yeah.
Open twist, does that mean easier?
It means, for example, if somebody is pregnant, taking the block here, high up, even wider out to the side, and here, so that they're not twisting here. Letting this hip come down, they're just kind of letting the chest open up a little bit.
And they can do that both sides, because I know that you're only supposed to twist on one side.
No. That's more about lying on the back. For venous, the vena cava, which is artery that's brings the deoxygenated blood up the spine, and it can cause a lot of pressure with pregnant women, so that's why we have them roll over to the left side. But
The twist, they can do both sides.
they can do both sides, yeah. Okay, so now, you're gonna get back into your groups. Group number 1 is going to do the breakdown for Pavrita Trikonasana. Group 2, Pavrita Parshvakonasana. And group 3, Pavrita Ardha Chandrasana. While you guys are working on the breakdowns, I'm going to write down on here, I'm going to write down the sequence. And then after you've done the breakdown, you're going to go through the sequence and you're going to figure out what poses, prepare for your pose, and why. Okay? Go.